Oh, hey, sorry, didn't see you there. Dan from Crafty Comics. Do you like to collect a little bit of everything like I do? Well, here, we make frames and displays for people like you and me. It's 99% UV protected. Everything can be customized online with different backings and border colors. And for the listeners of Creators Outlet, you can save 5% with promo code CO5. We can't wait to CO5 what you display.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, we're back. Welcome back to the Creators Outlet podcast, and we welcome our special guest today, Matthew Blair, the writer of Kaijus and Cowboys.
Hello.
Welcome. So
Great to be here. It's as per usual.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've been on. I think it was issue 1 that both you and Frankie were able to come on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the West Coast, as you all know, and time differences in work are, a hassle, an annoying hassle. But yeah, it's great to be back.
Yeah, jobs.
Ugh,
They
work.
interfere with work. Dirty 4-letter word. So tell everybody what you've been up to, and I know you've got a bunch of projects in the wings, some of which are available on this campaign.
Yes. Most of the projects we have available are available on this campaign. We have a Kickstarter currently going that we're very excited about because we have 3 books that are available. And when I say 3 books, I mean 3 series. The first one we have is this one. It's our flagship title, Kaijus and Cowboys. And it just funded. It just funded yesterday. So, I was going to go onto this podcast to, say, oh, we're so close, but now this is a celebration. And we get to say, huzzah, we're finally there. So, we made it. When people ask me about what Kaijus and Cowboys is, I say it's basically like, Clint Eastwood, but he's a robot and he wanders around fighting Godzilla-sized kaiju monsters. And so, it's all the chaos and violence and action of a Saturday morning cartoon, with a little bit of Samurai Jack thrown in. And we're on issue 6 of Kaijus and Cowboys, and that is, it's the halfway point of what we're doing. It's a huge milestone since we've been doing this for the better part of 5 years almost.
Yeah.
And I can safely say this is the biggest issue we have yet. The monsters that they have to face are bigger. The way they deal with them are bigger. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's literally a giant double page spread in this comic that is awe-inspiring to see. The second book we have, I don't have any pages to show off that one yet, but it's a book called Romanus Magicae. This is a little smaller in scale, a little more personal. I always like to joke that Kaijus and Cowboys is the book that I wrote for Frankie, because Frankie is the biggest kaiju fan I know. So I was like, let me make something that you really want to draw. Let me make something that you are really passionate about, and let's make something really cool. Romanus Magicae is the book I really wanted to create. It's an idea that's been kicking in my head for the better part of a decade. It's basically, I like to describe it as Hellboy, but a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but instead of set in the modern day, it's set in ancient Rome. So you have myth, magic, violence, and it's set in the back alleys and the side streets of ancient Rome, not the city of marble that everyone shows off. So we're offering that as well. That's sort of a side thing. And the third thing, I can't count today. The third thing I am immensely proud to debut here is this. We actually have some artwork for this down on the Kickstarter. This is called Guardians of the Last Dragon. And it's by a friend of mine named Zach Schimmel, and it's got art by a gentleman named Ben Basil. And it's a science fiction book I like to describe it as like the movie Underworld with Kate Beckinsale,
Yeah.
and it's like gothic horror, but it's a war between vampires and werewolves. Well, this is the same thing, but instead of werewolves and vampires, it's a sci-fi cyberpunk story with knights and dragons. So it's set in the aftermath of a terrible and awful war between the humans who have this sort of techno parasitic aesthetic to them, versus the dragons who are like these bioengineered monsters who they've lost. They're on their last legs, and the humans are hunting them down, but the dragons are desperately trying to get the last of their kind off the planet. So it's this huge like action-packed extravaganza with like this gorgeous artwork. Like black and white is one of the most underrated like aesthetics. Um, but Ben does an amazing job with like scope and scale, and like adding just a tiny bit of color. I know you can see it right there.
Yeah. The
um,
splash of the
so
red.
yeah, yeah. So it's a gorgeous looking book. It's a really cool idea. I helped edit it a little bit, which is why I can feel confident in saying like adding this here. But yeah, no, this is the first book that we are adding that was not written by me. So we're starting to delve into other creator owned work, um, and it's sort of like a monster bundle. Like you've got the kaiju in Kaijus and Cowboys, you've got the mystical thread of Romanus Magicae, and you've got the bioorganic creatures of Guardians, and it's like it's all come together in our Kickstarter. So three different books, three really cool ideas, all all up for sale on this campaign we're running, and we're really excited for it.
And the first Kaijus and Cowboys trade paperback.
Yes, there's that too. One of the things that one of the great things about comic books is that you have different people read comics for different reasons, and like there are the people that collect the floppies, and there are the people that um you know would prefer to read like the whole story.
Hmm.
And so for like the first time, we have a trade paperback that collects the first 6 issues of Kaijus and Cowboys. So like if you're a new reader who wants to get caught up really quickly, this is the perfect uh, um, you know reward to back. If you're an old reader who like wants to collect it all and like wants to like keep things organized, this is the perfect thing for you. Or if you're a collector who wants to, complete the whole series, this is what we're doing. We've got 12 issues, 2 trades, and we're probably going to get an omnibus together. So, yeah, a 6 issue trade for a small time indie publication. It's a huge milestone, and we're really, really proud of it. So,
Yeah, that's like really big, and it's going well. I mean,
yeah.
you're already funded.
Yeah, this is like I looked over the numbers because Kickstarter offers like graphs showing funding progress,
Hmm.
and I can see like we we did adjust the campaign goal because of all the stuff that's going on. Like we understand that, like there's a lot of other stuff to worry about, so we did adjust our campaign goal, and we did sort of adjust our expectations a little bit. But this is literally by every conceivable metric, by percentage, by total money raised, by how well the can like how quickly the campaign took off, this is literally the best launch we've ever had. And I've done 11 of these things, over the course of a decade, and this is amazing. And it's all thanks to our backers that who have stuck with us. We have a pretty healthy collection of old backers and new backers, which is just so amazing to see. And we've got people coming in as well. So we welcome you all, old and new, to our own little monsterverse, patent pending.
Yeah. As Frankie has labeled them, the riders.
Yes, the riders, the cowboys, the cowpokes. So
Yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Yes.
Mostly because I know Frankie in real life, and I'm always excited to see what he's working on and doing and everything. And
real life, what's that?
Look, I'm so old. I was here before the internet. So luckily, all the dumb crap I did when I was a kid, there's no proof. Sadly,
smart.
There's lots of proof of dumb stuff I've done since I got old. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the internet is not. The internet is like, it's one of those things that it feels like it's been here forever, but at the same time, it's also really not that old either. Because I remember I think I was 5 or 6 when we got our first dial-up. I mean, I come from a family of Luddites, but I remember, I remember dial-up. I remember not, not having to not use the phone when someone is on the computer. I remember that, but it's amazing how far we've come in such a short period of time.
Yeah, and it's everything's looking slightly brighter.
Yeah.
You just have to post positive content on the interwebs because it's forever.
Yeah. No, I choose to be optimistic about this. I mean, the same thing happened when the printing press became a thing. Everyone was, worried that it was going to cause the downfall of society, and no one, too many ideas out there, and it was all too radical. But we adapted, and so we've got this. We're sort of going through that as well. So also, thanks to the internet, books like this are able to exist. You're able to find this stuff and get it and enjoy it. I cannot think of any other situation where someone like me who lives on the West Coast can communicate and talk to someone like Frankie who lives on the East Coast, and collaborate on a book without publisher oversight or the threat of censorship or what have you. And then once that's done, go on a computer and talk to someone who's also on the East Coast and share it to everyone around the world, which is it's an amazing, wonderful thing. So
RJ Williams says, "Hey, crazy kids, is that guy outside? How is he going to get angry about internet drama outside? He's not."
No, I'm an optimist on things, but yes, I am outside. I'm on the porch of the house I live in, so it's partially there to give my roommates some peace and quiet, but it's also nice. It's sunny, it's pleasant, and so go outside and enjoy it. So, but yeah, no, I don't get crazy mad about internet drama. It's I'm too busy, and there's not enough time to be mad at stuff like this. So I want to do I want to get mad that I'm not making enough comic books. That's what I get mad at.
and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everything else comes around. Yeah, because like in the '80s, for the guys that were making indie books back then, most of which that are still around are, you know, seasoned pros and have worked for every publisher on the planet. Many of them no longer here, the publishers that is, and
Yeah.
you used to have to pay to make the book yourself and hope you got enough sales and through solicitations to get into comic shops and that people liked it. But you also had to
Yeah.
have like 5 to 10,000 copies on hand that you could drop ship to the distributor so they could send them out. And now
Yeah.
we've cut them out, and you can just go direct to the source.
Yeah. The barrier to entry is like it's never been an easier time to make comics, and it's never been a better time to make comics. Like, um, one of the things I was a history major in college, and like I still am still am a bit of a history nerd. One of the things that I enjoy reading about and talking about when it comes to comic book history is the golden age. So like
Mm-hmm.
go back even further to like the 40s and 50s, and like when Action Comics 1 dropped, it set off this massive explosion of superhero titles, like because there were like so many publishers who were trying to make their own Superman and get on the gravy train, as it were.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them sucked. Like there's a website called Comic Book Plus, which is like a database for Golden Age comics, and like you can read them for free. It's a really cool site. Um, but like a lot of these books were not like of the highest quality, but at the same time, like there was this sort of energy to the whole thing where it's like let's just throw something against the wall and see if it sticks. And despite the fact that there were a lot of characters like the Atom Wizard or the Eye or like Lady Satan, like these are all real.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't survive into the public consciousness, but at the same time, this is the era that gave us Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Captain America, the Human Torch, who was a robot before. He wasn't, a
Mm-hmm.
person. Namor, uh, Green Lantern, like all of these things. And so, like, we're living through that now. And it's so much bigger and it's so much better because you have all of these amazing creators with really cool ideas, with access to, collaborators from all over the globe. And you know sure, some of them might not be like the best books you'll read on the face of the planet, but it's there and it's being made, and there's so much cool stuff there. So like I like I like to think that we're living through like the golden age part 2,
Yeah.
and like there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff that's going to make it, and there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff that we're going to get out of this. um, and one of those things is going to be Kaijus and Cowboys. So you know
Yes, indeed. I remember doing what Frankie explained to me. That was kind of like an issue 0, and here's the issue 1.
yeah
The
yeah.
original Zoop crowdfunder.
Well,
It's
no,
just,
Zoop was, I think, issue 2 or issue 3.
was it?
Yeah, we tried something. I think Kickstarter had like they were doing some interesting things that not a lot of people agreed with, and this was like 2022, I want to say. But yeah, no, we thought we'd give Zoop a try, and Zoop is a good service. They do good things. They have cool stuff. Um, we realized that Zoop wasn't for us, and so we
Mm-hmm.
went back to Kickstarter. and we've been doing it ever since. And Kickstarter's been great. Like, they've got a good, layout. They've got some good people who are very attentive and very, very like receptive. If you have a concern from the creator's end, it's like I need this to happen, but this isn't happening, and like they're very good at fixing things. Plus, it's Kickstarter. It's been around for, uh, God, how long? Um, a little over, like
Decades.
over a decade. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, you know, uh, they do good stuff. It's where the audience, it's where the people are. It's where the most people are. So,
Mhm.
you know, not trying to badmouth Zoop, but like we decided that Kickstarter is going to be the home for where we are.
Yeah. This is actually the first campaign that I backed before I had one of you guys come on the show to promote it.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, well, I mean, like, you've been with us since the beginning, and like one of the things that Frankie and I were really, really keen on was uh, you know, really focusing on making sure that everyone who backed us, everyone who was willing to give us money, got the best quality book in the shortest possible time.
Oh yeah.
Because like you'd think that something like good customer service would be a thing that was high on everyone's list, and yet somehow surprisingly there are a lot of people that don't think this, and it's very weird to it's very weird to me because it's like the you're asking people to give you money for your art. It's like that's already a pretty big ask. Like we are asking you to trust us, and the least we can do is make sure you get a good book on time. Like,
Yeah.
it should be the bare minimum, and yet there are some people that don't seem to grasp that. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, on one hand, it sucks, but on the other hand, it makes the bar for high quality really, really low to really low to hurdle. So like it get the it's good for us. So good
Yeah.
books delivered on time.
There's some people that I've backed in the past uh, only once because apparently as soon
Yeah,
as they collect that money, they forget about the tens of hundreds of people that have made it possible for them to make their book,
yeah.
and there might be one or two that just never fulfilled still to this day.
Oh yeah, no, I backed a couple of books. I'm still I backed a couple of books like 3 years ago. I'm still waiting for the book to show up, and it's like it's a question of trust. And I don't remember where. I think it's an ancient Greek thing, where they first said, you know, oh,
The
yes,
neighbors
I
are home.
know, I know, puppy, I know.
See that
Um,
Harley does has trust issues too. So
yeah, yeah, but like I think it was like the Greeks who said, a reputation like takes a lifetime to build, but only seconds to destroy, or something like
mhm.
that. And like they're right. Um, you know, because like it's not just like when we go on Kickstarter, we're not just representing ourselves. We are representing everyone who wants to make a comic, and who puts in the effort to run a Kickstarter campaign, promote it, build it, and ship it. So
Yeah,
like it's I'm not trying to be like you know uh, full of myself here, but like it's not just us, it's everyone. And so the least we can do is help.
yeah,
But yes. So yes, Kaijus and yes, issue 6. These are the first 5 pages of the comic, and it like when we were coming up with this idea, uh, we Frankie and I wanted this to be like action heavy. Um, I think when I was writing the script, I was like when I was writing the script for the first issue, I was like, I want to build a comic around a fight scene, and like storytelling through action, as opposed to dialogue. One of the big inspirations for this book was a show called Primal. Um,
Oh yeah, I've seen
if
that.
you've never Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's a show by Jenny Tartakovsky. He's the guy who did like Dexter's Laboratory and the Powerpuff Girls. Um, but he came out with a show called Primal in like 2000, and I watched it during quarantine, and it's a caveman and a dinosaur, and they team up and they wander across this like prehistoric Earth. It's not historically accurate, but like it's each episode is like it's sort of like a monster of the week thing where the caveman and the dinosaur have to work together to take on threats like there's an episode with like a giant spider. There's an episode with a tribe of ape men, um, and it's presented in a way that's both beautiful and amazingly violent. Like it's so like bloody, and like it's not afraid to show like broken bones and like caved in skulls, but like the whole thing is presented with no dialogue, outside of like some grunts and screams from the caveman and some roars from the
Mhm.
dinosaur. And I was watching this and it was like, I want to tell a story like this, because it was just so gripping and it was just so cool to watch. So we did the same thing. We told a action heavy story, with themes and ideas and stuff with as little dialogue as humanly possible. Um, and then we decided to spin it into 12 issues, and like we added a little more dialogue, but that spirit still remains. So yeah, this scene right here, basically what's happening is there's the main city of the robots is under threat from a kaiju that is literally the size of uh, a kaiju the size of Manhattan, who is just laying waste to everything. And like they put up a good fight at the beginning, but like everything goes wrong very very quickly. But then something else happens, and I'm not going to spoil it because you should read the book. But it is like I've been looking at the art for the better part of 2 years now, because like we're on a accelerated schedule where like we draw like I think we draw like um 2 issues out before it's published. But
Mhm.
I've been looking at this art for the better part of like 2 years now, and it's still like I still get so excited when I see it. So I'm not the most coherent right now, but it's just because like like trying to describe how excited I have felt about this is
Yeah,
difficult at times. Just like it's so cool.
yeah. This from the first time I saw some of the art for this book. The first geek out session that Frankie and I had was basically like, I go, wow, this looks like Creature Double Feature. It was Channel
Yes.
56. I'm like, yeah, awesome. And and then it zoomed into this, and
Yeah. I mean, like I said at the beginning, this so confession time. This is not my world. This is not my fan base. This is not what I grew up on. This is what Frankie grew up
mhm,
on. And uh, the reason why I can be confident in saying that is because uh, I've been working with Frankie for the better part of a decade. We have like other projects that we did, other projects that we worked on, and like Frankie is the the nicest, kindest, and most capable person I've met. Like easily top five.
Yeah.
Um, and when we were sort of percolating this idea, I was like, I want to make something that, Frankie, you've been working with me for 5 years, doing something I want to do. Let's make something that you want to do. Let's make something that plays to your strengths and your passions and you know, your background as someone who loves kaiju. And this is the result. And not only is this the result, I've become a bit of a kaiju fan because of this as well. More, I always was, because who doesn't love Godzilla?
Hmm.
But like you know, this has made me a better kaiju fan because of it. And so you know, being in the presence of someone who is so passionate and so good at what he does has made me better as a writer. So I know Frankie's going to be watching this on YouTube. So he's just great. I can't sing his praises enough.
You hear that, Frankie? Somebody out there likes you.
Yeah,
Besides
yeah,
your wife and me.
yeah. So,
This is just an awesome, fun story. So action packed, and
hmm
I know Frankie's
and
still waiting for a creative person to maybe one year for Christmas or his birthday to gift him a uh, a B-wing cowboy hat.
ooh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Go to a haberdasher and say make me a hat like this. That would be really cool. Uh, so maybe that might be happening. Who knows?
One day, you never know. He might show up to a convention, in B-wing's coat and hat one day, and
That would be really cool. I mean, I'm starting to go to conventions more now. Which is annoying because Southwest canceled their two bags fly free program, which makes me absolutely livid. Um, but yeah, I'm uh, part of the sort of like the uniform that I'm wearing is this hat. But yeah, no, definitely. If Bwin's Stetson were to make an appearance, that would certainly be really cool. Um, so yeah, no, I've been going to conventions. Frankie is laying off the public appearances for the foreseeable future. He's recovering from some pretty major surgery
yeah.
this year, but next year, we'll see about what happens. But yeah, no, I'm going to Three Rivers Comic Con in Pittsburgh in June. Then I'm going to ATL Con in Atlanta in July, and it's still up in the air at the moment. I haven't heard back, but I put in an application for Fan Expo in Chicago, and I put in an application for Rose City in Portland, and I also put in I threw my hat in the ring for the big one in New York, which fingers crossed, maybe something will happen. We'll see. I can't say it right now. So
Uh, if for some reason you don't get accepted to New York, think of all the money you'll save. Because
well, that's true. Well, so here's the thing. I have I've been to I've had a table at two conventions over the course of my entire life. And two conventions does not a pattern make, and also these are local conventions, so
Mhm.
travel has not been a problem. But you know, when I went to these two things, I did something that is rare, mysterious, and wonderful. I went to a convention, bought a table, and turned a profit. which is like, yeah,
Unheard of.
like yeah, like, there's some people who like, do like podcasts really well. There's some people who do like the whole social media thing really well. I'm starting to realize just how fun conventions can be, and how like, cool it is to be like face to face and talk to people. I do conventions really well. I do like, face to face, like, walk up and like, let's start chatting comics. And in the meantime, like, let me show you some of the cool stuff we have. So yeah, they're a lot of fun. And like, yes, they're expensive to, like, paying for a table is expensive, and yes, it could be cheaper, and yes, it going to like, smaller shows is probably better these days, because like, you know it doesn't cost an arm and a leg for the table. It doesn't, the tickets don't cost an arm and a leg as well. So like, you have, people who are there who are, who aren't like, oh, like, I spent $120 for a 3-day pass. I have, money to spend there. Um, uh, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Um, you know,
Yeah,
so
I prefer like the smaller local shows. One, because
yeah,
pretty much everybody that's going, uh, outside of the cosplayers, to a lot of them, the smaller shows are just like a practice run for like a new cosplay, and they're hanging out with their friends. Everybody that's usually milling around are there for comics and creators, opposed to the larger overpriced shows usually run by millionaires, uh, because they have to buy out somebody else's show to take over that area. Um,
yeah. I think there.
all filled with celebrities that the average person can't afford to even go up and shake their hand, because if you get in line and you don't have a ticket, they ask you to leave the line because you're slowing it up for people that have spent money.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if when it comes to celebrity lines, I mean, if you get like selective about when you go up, and like, in my general experience, like, I don't know, maybe it's a Portland thing, but like, if you're polite, and if you're like humble about it, you can go up to like, a table that doesn't have like the biggest line yet, and like, say, hi, I'm a big fan. If it's all right with you, can I, sit and chat for a little while? And a lot of the times, like, they'll be accommodating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a thing. It's possible. But yeah, no, you're right. Like, Portland had like the big one here is a Rose City Comic Con, and it is a good show. Like, it's run by Reed Pop, and like, Reed Pop, there's some, good people working there. But like, yeah, it's like $100 uh, for a 3-day ticket. And it's like $60 to, meet a celebrity, and like, the food is, convention food, and it's like, so, where's the money for the, the little guys? Where's the money
Mm-hmm.
for the tables that fill out the space? And I think that's all. I think, you know how do I put this? Like, there is time and a space for the small to medium sized shows, where it's a lot more laid back, where it's a lot cheaper, where, the up and coming creators can show off their work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like, there was an article that showed up on Forbes, of all places. I don't know, maybe you read it. It was talking about like the business of running Emerald City Comic Con in March.
Mm-hmm.
Emerald City Comic Con is the one up in Seattle,
Yeah.
and it was talking about how like the conventions are starting to like diversify, and sort of bring in like here are the comic book people, here are like the movie people, here's like the Ren Fair people. Let's yeah, yeah, merchandising, yeah, the Spaceballs flamethrower. The kids love it. So like it's an interesting thing, and like bringing more people together to talk and share about to share their passions and their hobbies is a good thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like let's focus a little bit. Let's give let's give the little guys a chance. I don't know. I'm saying that partially because like I myself am a little guy, so yeah, I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, it all started from somewhere. And yes, this is the Guardians of the Last Dragon, uh, different tone, different aesthetic, some similar ideas, but yeah, this is the cover and the interior artwork is by Ben Basil. I've never met him, but Zach found him, and yeah, just gorgeous black and white with some spot colors.
Yeah. He does some great gray tone work too in here. So
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm friends with
yeah,
another creator that he does phenomenal gray tone work. Um, and he had to learn it himself because he's actually from your area. Give a shout out to Lunchbox Warren from Lunchbox Comics. He's actually colorblind, so all the work he does is
wow,
black and white and grayscale.
wow, that's really cool. I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, he's been working on a book for like the last few years called Sig and Joe. So it's a cigarette and a cup of Joe having conversations and various other unique characters in there. But he's also been doing artwork in different D&D publications and in various art books and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's really cool. Yeah. So yeah, we also have variant covers. We try to do everything. We do everything in our power to make like the Kickstarter special.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to ask someone to pay, $10 plus shipping for a comic book, you want to make sure they're getting their money's worth. Like that's the other thing. Like no disrespect to any of our fellow creators. Like you got to make a living, but I've seen campaigns by like big people, people who can like draw like campaigns to where like people will like they get like 300 backers.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're charging like $25 for a PDF file, and it's like okay, I understand it, but like at some point like at some point like how much is too much? So another thing that we believe in, another thing that Frankie and I are trying to do, we want to make this book accessible. Like
Mm-hmm.
it seems that you have a choice between if given the choice between having a small handful of backers giving big donations and a lot of money, or having a lot of small backers but more of them, we'll take the second option. We'll take more people reading the book.
Yeah.
So we want to make the book as accessible as possible because we want you to read it, and we want you to enjoy it, and we want you to share it, and we want you to talk about it, and we want you to tell us your thoughts about it. So that's what we want. So if you read any of the books that are available on this Kickstarter, Frankie and I are pretty active on like all the various social media channels where we have Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, come up to us, let us know what you think, good or bad. And yeah, it would just be so cool, um, to cool for that to happen. If you
Well,
like.
this is the cover that I backed because
Yes.
I've already got the Dope Pope from Bwin from last issue, so I got to have
Yes.
the matching set, you know.
Well, of course, yeah. We've got the trinity of characters. We've got the bot with no name. We have his steed, and this is Doc. He's the uh, he's one of the main characters. Like, Doc was put there to be like the audience surrogate to, like, ask, what's going on, why is this happening, and to have that, explained so you're not, so the readers aren't lost. But yeah, he's a lot less strict than the bot with no name. He actually talks, although
Yeah.
the B will open his mouth from time to time. But yeah, uh, you know, uh, having Dope Pope as a collaborator has also been fantastic because I mean, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And we've got the patches. Smoky Mountain Patch and Supply is the guy that does these, and he's been doing amazing work. We've got the usual stickers. Um, it's just like the extra stuff. Like, if you want to read the book and, like, get something really cool that, like, you can put, like, on a vest or a jacket. I actually had a backer reach out to me saying that they were going to get the hunter patch, the one on the um right, and he was going to put it on his jujitsu gi. And I was like, that is really cool. Like, it's an honor to have that. And I love that. And we've got a bunch of stickers. We have stickers that we sell in packs of 3. They're available as add-ons. So, like, they look great on, like, laptops. They look great on cars, and we use Sticker App as our vendor for that. And they've done amazing work for us. Um, so, like, if you're looking for a company to print your stickers, I can't recommend them enough, and they don't pay me to say that. So we've got the stickers. What did I put down next? Yes. So, okay. Uh, we have for at a little higher. We have what I call the Cambrian bundle, because the website that I run, the I'm we have a publishing venture called Cambrian Comics, and you have the opportunity to purchase all of the comics that we've made so far. So you can see the first 5 issues of Kaijus and Cowboys below. You can actually see the first 3 issues of Romanus Magicae, and you're actually going to get 4. I didn't have a copy of issue 3 because we have issue 0, issue 1, and issue 2, and you'll have issue 3 as well. Um, the Kickstarter covers that we have for this, um, I don't know if you can see them, but for issue 0, we were able to get Charlie Adler to do some work for us, and then we were able to get Sean Phillips and Charlie Gillespie
Oh, nice.
to do artwork. So yeah, that was that like oh oof, that was amazing. The artist on the book for that is a guy named Paul Pert Smith. He is British, but he's living in Australia at the moment. And I was talking to him when we were making the art for this book, and he was like, and I was like, let's find, do you know anyone who'd be willing to do some cover illustrations? And he's like, oh yeah, let me email my friends Charlie Adler, Sean Phillips, and Duncan Fregretto. And he got back to me and said, so I reached out. Duncan's not going to be able to do it because of time constraints, but yeah, Charlie and Sean are more than happy to help. So, like, out of the blue. Yeah. All right. See you, Tank. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Tank. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
Like and share.
Yes, please.
This is the first podcast I've done in almost 2 months because I too had a little bit of a health thing. Because I always have a health thing, but this unbeknownst bleeding hole and tear in my abdomen.
Oh,
yay!
Yay!
You could say I'm black and white with a little spot color of red too.
What's black and white and red all over? Post surgery.
Yeah, I was about to say a frog in a blender, but that would bring me back to elementary school.
Oh, kids, good jokes. We've got the Cambrian bundle, which is for new readers who are like want to take the plunge and like want to sit back and read everything we have, and I do mean everything. We are also including Guardians of the Last Dragon 2.
Nice.
I took that picture before I was able to get these from the printer, so that's why it's not there. Yeah. And and the trading cards and variant covers are also there. It's this is a reward that we wanted to make something like special, and we wanted to make like something like wholly, absolutely unique to the Kickstarter. And Frankie's a beast when it comes to commissions, and so it's like we've got these. So like it's hard to talk about because since we've been doing this for so long, like it just is. But like after each campaign is over, I send off the the names and addresses of the people that pick these up, and within like 3 to 4 weeks, these are at my these cards are at my door, and I am jealous that that people are getting this to to hold and to show off and to look at. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The greatest symbol of luxury these days is custom is custom stuff, like stuff that is unique and something that only you have. And so it's a chance for everyone to pick up some custom artwork from Frankie. Incidentally, this is also the first Kickstarter campaign we're offering where this is actually also involved as an add-on. In our previous campaigns, we you could only find this on a reward tier, but we're offering a select number of these as add-ons as well. So like if you want to like mix and match stuff, like if you want to pick up like one issue of Kaijus and Cowboys, if you want to pick up Guardians, if you want to pick up a single issue of Romanus Magicae, and if you want to throw in a sketch card for that as well, we can do that for you. So yeah, make it your own.
And I know you say he's a beast at commissions, but what people that don't know Frankie don't understand is he's doing all these Kaijus and Cowboys commissions. He's doing art for other people's campaigns, connecting cards. He's done them for like so many campaigns that I've known of. He designed a patch for another friend's campaign, which made me go in and get like the full bundle of the teaser of their D&D inspired campaign. And at the same time, he's doing a ton of sketch cards for whatever campaign is ending for Pete Sonetti's company.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
He's he's an artist making a living doing art, and like he is, he's a pretty cool guy and
yeah,
pretty gosh darn good at this art thing. No, I really think he has a future in this.
yeah, he might. He might.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you got cards, and if you want something bigger, we also have covers. We also have this mystery pack. The mystery packs were a thing that um, we came up with because Frankie has like a lot of like
Stuff.
stuff, a lot of stuff.
He's got a lot of stuff.
From like you know uh, you know stuff accumulated over a long career, and he was like, let's give people a chance to get something, get something else really cool to see what happens. So we've got the mystery pack. We've got these coasters as well. I have I have a couple of these with me. In my little box where I keep all like the where I store everything. My roommates love me, uh, but nice little coaster for your refreshing beverage of choice.
Mhm.
So yeah, just something fun, something cool. And
My only
I think
problem
you
with
scored.
coasters is all my
Yeah,
cups
yeah,
are like
like
ginormous, but luckily they've got
yeah.
like a built-in coaster on the bottom, so I don't have to worry about it.
Ah,
But yeah, when I have
they're
company over, those coasters do come in handy because they'll
yeah,
just
a
put stuff.
monster coaster for a monster drink.
Yes, I,
Yeah.
I I used to monsterly drink, but I'm better now. So
Ugh, ugh. I don't know.
it's funny
I can't do it.
how quick you can stop trying to party like a rock star uh, when you're broke. I'm like, well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can either have a few drinks or I can buy some comics. It's always comics.
Hmm. You know, yeah, yeah. That's a good one, and it's healthier for you too. Like so there's that. I mean, I don't know. I don't drink a whole lot. Like I was raised in a pretty religious household. Like it was my parents weren't like hyper strict, uh, but uh, I when you live near a church, it usually means that there are a lot of AA meetings. So like
Mm,
I was not given the liquor is the devil lecture, but I did see like the effects that drinking too much can have on someone.
yeah,
So like yeah, that's the best anti-drinking public service announcement you can ever have. Like seeing people who you know are recovering from like this truly hideous and awful addiction, and like working to make themselves better. It's like it's don't do that. But yeah, no, that's a very depressing side tangent. But yeah, read comics instead. It's
yeah.
healthier.
They're more fun too.
Yeah,
Um, when you wake up, you can still remember the comic book you just read.
yeah, yeah. And better to have a bunch of comics lying around than a bunch of beer cans.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than waking up and saying, "Oh my God, where are my pants?"
Yeah.
Don't forget, for people that are hiding their comic book fixes from their friends and wives, uh, if you if you're a digital reader, there's a full Cambrian digital bundle.
Yes,
And
yes.
if you have a membership to my favorite comic book app, Global Comics with an X.
Yes, the X is very important.
Yes, you can read Kaijus and Cowboys, at least the first issue on Global Comics.
Yeah, yeah. Try it before you buy it. Like one of the one of the biggest hurdles that indie comic creators have to face is building trust. Like the thing about Marvel and DC is that they have decades of history. They have a reputation of putting books out on time. Like if you want to read Batman is accessible. And indie comics, it's a little more difficult to do that. So putting the book out there, it's important to make sure that readers have the opportunity to check us out, uh, you know uh, you know uh, to give people a chance to be like, okay, this looks like something I can spend some money on. Let's give it a shot. And yeah, no, I don't mind digital comics as well. Like I have piles of floppies in my room, but at the same time, you know most of my comic book reading is like on the bus, like going to work or going around, and I have Global Comics on my phone, and I'll read that, and it's like they have the panel to panel
Oh, I
view
love
that you
that.
can do. I love that. That is the greatest thing, because it's so convenient, and it like for putting something on like a small phone screen, like that's just the best.
Yeah.
um but yeah, you can read us in your room, you can read us out on the porch, you can read us on the book. You could read us when you're driving, but only if you're in the passenger seat. Do not read and drive.
No,
You can read it on a plane. You could read it on the moon if you wanted. So, welcome.
just don't eat it while you're eating. Don't. Blah, blah, blah. Just don't read it while you're eating green eggs and spam. I like spam better than ham.
I mean, even then, part of the reason why old comics are so valuable is because people were, able to, you know, uh, you know, ate around them. They got stains, and they got tears and rips, and like they were like folded, and like all sorts of stuff. It's like I think the I think the highest sign of respect that you can give to a book of any kind, like prose or comic, is to have dog-eared pages, to have a cover where like the jacket is like torn and falling apart. The sign of a good book is that it's well used.
Mm-hmm.
And I have nothing but respect for people like who collect these things, because you know do what makes you happy. But if given the choice between having like a book that's a little worse for wear, but has been read and enjoyed, versus a book that is slabbed and graded and like locked away in a vault somewhere, it's like, what's better? I go
I
for
have been
the
more than
book that,
happy in the past to buy, AKA reader copies of books where the covers are like either torn off or mutilated. I bought I think 15 or 20
yeah.
of the actual Captain Marvel / Shazam from the 70s that were like 100-page books where they would reprint stories, some of them from the old Fawcett comics, and put them in there. And I think I paid like maybe 50 cents a piece for them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
50 cents for a
Comic books are
100-page
meant
comic? Yeah, to be read. Yeah.
That's pretty freaking good. Comic books are meant to be read. Now, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a writer, but yes, like, read comics, like, read more comics, but like read comics. Darn it, that's my
Yeah,
soapbox. That
yeah,
that's my cause.
and it's there's a reason there's a free comic book day every year for the past 20 years now,
Yeah,
20 plus years, and it's because younger kids, uh, like myself when I was younger, uh, they
young
will
kids and
read,
young kids at heart.
yeah, they will read books of subject matters that they like.
Yeah,
Like if they like cars, they'll read like car magazines. If they like comics and superheroes or fantasy, they'll read that. My problem is I like all of them, but with my eyes nowadays after 55, uh,
there's so much stuff, and there's so much
yeah,
stuff, and it's all so good. Like
so much
like
stuff, so
how
little
like
time.
like how amazing is it that we live in a world where there's too much stuff that's good. like
Hmm.
like how amazing is it to live in a world where you are spoiled for choice, whereas like you don't, like, as opposed to, like, how it normally is where there isn't enough. Like this, like, what a world we live in, and what a problem to have. Like like, how great is that? And like, like, the comic book store I go to, um, has a really well curated kids section, and there are,
Hmm.
like, I go in, and like there are, 8 to 10 year old kids, you know pawing through these books with like the most excited look on their face, and their parents are standing beside them, behind them, going, "Oh God, how much is this going to cost me?" But like that is the coolest thing. Okay, story time. When I was tabling at a convention, I uh, was approached by a little. I don't remember how old he was. I think he was like, 9 or 10 years old. But I was approached by this little kid, and we started talking about kaiju, and he was just like, I showed him Kaijus and Cowboys, and like his eyes got so wide, and he was like, "This is so cool! I want this!" And like his dad bought all 5 issues that we were selling at the time, and it's like, even if this kid just lost in even if this kid didn't buy anything, this was it was the greatest moment of the convention for me.
Hmm.
And like, it was like, being able to see that and being able to be part of that is just so cool. And like it's one of those things that like makes you really excited as a writer and as a creator. Like
Hmm.
that moment of uh ooh, dad, can I get this, can I get this? And then, like, you look at the parent with like a knowing look, it's like, but like just seeing that joy, and seeing that excitement in someone's face over something that you made, it's it's indescribable. It's amazing. And it makes all of the struggles and all of the difficulties worth it. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, like I've had little kids come up to me and like, say, "I want that," and it's so like, oh, it's so cool.
There was a young kid that uh, we used to try charging the parents when they would drop them off at the comic shop and babysit while the mother went in to get
Hmm.
her hair done or something next door. Uh, there was a young man, Pete, that used to come in uh, back when I was just barely out of my teens. His mother would go to the hair salon next door. Pete would come in and look around and ask like a million questions. And his mother would give him like, a buck or two. And he'd go through like the 50-cent boxes or this boxes, but he'd be asking questions. And
Hmm.
he is still a big comic book fan. Works the conventions with another comic book store that I'm I know because a friend of mine works there as well. And now he's got two sons that he's getting hooked into, like all the all the mainstream characters and other stuff. And he grew up to be a security guard at one of the local hospitals here. And one time I was in there and he saw me. He knew stuff that I liked because I used to talk to him about it. He came in with a monster record. Remember the old storytelling records from like the 70s from like Power?
I'm not that old, dude. Come on.
Oh, okay. You can Frankie will school you on it because we're the same age. They used to sell these flat things called records made of plastic vinyl, and they would put stories on them. It'd be like, all the pop culture stuff and like monster stories and everything. And he knew I was a big Neil Adams fan. So he got me this record. All the artwork on the album jacket, front and back, was all by Neil. And it even included a short comic book inside, and it's a full-size album. So it's like this big square comic book inside, like 16, 18 pages, all done by Neil. I go, this is great. Don't you know, for the life of me, I couldn't find that bloody thing in 2019 when I was going to Rhode Island Comic Con, and I knew I was going to meet him, because I would have been like, sure, here, take my money, just sign this. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, makes a world of difference. You see somebody that goes from diving in dollar bins, with like paper route money, to turning around and going to a convention and buying wall books off of people because he's collecting, his favorite.
That's really cool. That's really sweet. But yeah. I mean, like, like, what's amazing is, like, that's just superheroes. That's just a part of what we have. Like it's a large chunk of the industry, but it's not everything. Because, like, yes, we have, like, the comic book shops, and we have, the floppies, and we have the superhero stories, but, like, this is a time where there's never been a better time to be, like, a graphic novel artist. Like, you've got, like, Raina Telgemeier, you've got just a whole glut of really well drawn, really well put together middle grade and young adult books. There's some, like, I don't remember what, like, the sales data is, but, like, comic books are not only selling, they're selling well, and, like, they've been seeing, like, pretty consistent growth for years since the pandemic ended. Like, like 5 years of, like, continuous growth. And it's like, it's in bookstores now. Teachers. I know, I've talked to, like, a bunch of, like, teachers and people who work with kids who have trouble reading. They're like, yeah, no, comic books are amazing for stuff like this. And, like, we've come a long way since the time where people thought comics caused juvenile delinquency. There's still some troublemakers out there, as it were, but, like, it's no longer it's no longer a niche thing that you feel like sometimes you have to hide from the world. Like, there's it's part of the culture now. It always has been, but, like, this is it's part of who we are as, like, a society, as people, as readers and lovers of books and fiction of all kinds. And so, like, it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and, like, there are so many different ways to be a comic book fan. these days. And like, you can be, a fan of like, you can collect, older issues. You can, go to your local library and, pick up a graphic novel. You can, purchase stuff on Kickstarter. You can, go to, Penguin Random House, and, to a publishing house that would have never even thought of, getting anywhere near comics,
Hmm.
30, 40 years ago. And you can enjoy it, and you can share it, and you can, uh, you can, meet up with like-minded people and, say, hey, I like this. Oh, you like this? Let me check this out. And like, it's amazing. Um, I think uh, there's a comedian. His name's Josh Johnson. If you don't know who he is, you should check him out. He's like genuinely funny, and he's very prolific. Like he puts out like, like massive, like 50-minute YouTube videos on YouTube every week about different topics. And he said something. He was talking about the Super Bowl halftime show with Kendrick Lamar, and he said something that really stuck with me. Uh, Entertainment won't be your salvation, but art will save your life. And that, like, yes, that is absolutely true. Art will absolutely save your life. It'll, and it did for me, but that's getting a little too personal. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I ended up collecting from a few different artists over the years, and I've enjoyed it and got some like really cool stuff with people that I've been friends with.
yeah.
My friend Rusty Gilligan, back in his youth, I think he was like 15 or 16. He did all the artwork for the heavy metal movie Zombie Pilot Scene.
Oh yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, the music escapes me, but like, yeah, no, I remember that one. So,
And he was like 15 or 16. There were no fax machines or everything, so his mother had to fly
mailing.
him back and forth to California like
Oh,
every week so he could hand in his new pages.
jeez. Ain't the internet great? Now we just have Dropbox.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all different ways to get stuff to wherever it needs to go.
yeah, all different ways to get stuff to where it needs to go. All different ways to share it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, like one of the jokes I like to tell is that comic book culture is internet culture. Because like you see like a lot of the stuff that the internet does, and the way like the way the internet works, you can see in like the early days of comics. Like, you look at something like Facebook or Twitter, or like Blue Sky, where like the barrier to the barrier between audience and author um, is practically non-existent. Like, where like someone who reads a book can, like, reach out to an author and ask a question, and like, the author can respond, and it's like, that's that's a comic book letters page.
yeah,
uh like, an author, like, shows off their work. That's a preview, you would see in like the back of a comic. um you talk about, like, like, people with a shared interest congregating together. It's like, yeah, this is pretty generic stuff, but like, um you know fan conventions, not just for comics, but like, I think in the early days, I think some of the first, like, fan clubs were like for, like, the pulps, and like, the Sherlock Holmes, and like, all those stories. Like, you would
hmm
have, like, these, like massive, collections of people writing letters to each other and talking about, their books, talking about these books, and like, the first fan fiction was like a Sherlock Holmes story, and like, the internet, uh, brought that to the forefront, but like, that's been around for ages. It's just easier now, and like the people that were part of these fan clubs and the people that went to these early conventions, these are the people that made the computers you're watching this on. These are the people that built the systems that we're using to do this podcast. And so internet culture is comic book culture, and comic books
Mhm.
are the internet.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of great stuff out there, much like Kaijus and Cowboys.
yeah, yeah. So give it a shot. Check out some of the art. Make sure to back us. Great comic, reasonable prices, shipped on time. That's what we do.
Action
That's what
packed.
we do, and that's what we're good at. We've been like doing two, at least two Kickstarters for the better part of 3 years. Like, we used to do just one Kickstarter a year, but now we're doing two. We're going to be doing another Kickstarter for Romanus pretty soon. That one, watch out for the pre-launch page for that one. We're going to be doing another Kickstarter for Guardians of the Last Dragon too. So we're doing four Kickstarters. We're gonna, we've got we I already did a convention in January. We're doing two more at the very least, and we're going to try to add more. So, four Kickstarters, four conventions. We're going to get a store up on our website. We have a website, CambrianComics.com. Not to toot my own horn, but like, I think it looks pretty good. I designed it, but like, we've got that. More stuff is going to start going up on Global Comics. This is the year where things are going to be happening. So, don't miss it, and come on in. The water's fine.
For sure. If you're a fan of, super robots, regular robots, Rosie from the Jetsons, anything like that, and big scary
If you want to
monsters.
see Rosie the robot fight Gamera, and not necessarily win, but put up a good effort, read Kaijus and Cowboys. I'm not saying that happens. I'm not saying that exists, but like,
But you could
that
commission
that's
Frankie
that
B. Washington to draw that on a cover for you.
that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. So,
I want to
that would
thank.
be really cool to see, actually.
That'd be funny. I want to thank Matthew for joining me in the lovely weather outside in his neck of the woods. It's equally nice here, but I don't have portable stuff, and it's a little windy. So
Yeah, I mean, spring's coming in. Winter's hanging on like a crusty old bastard, but spring will come eventually. And then summer comes along and it gets too hot, and then we're gonna start wondering, why we ever wanted things to get hot, and then we start missing the cold, and then then the cold comes around and it's like, oh, that's why.
1 week of very hot weather in the summer, and I'm like,
Ugh.
where's winter?
Yeah.
I have bronchial asthma, so the hot
Oof.
weather, especially inside, if I don't have my central AC going, I have breathing problems. So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I don't want the O2, but I do want the cold air. So
And then the humidity comes in, and it's like it feels like you're walking in soup, and it's like it's a little different on the West Coast. Like we only have I don't know what the exact science is, but like we have like this big instead of like, different weather patterns moving in and like conflicting with each other, we have just one big weather pattern, which means that, we get pretty consistent weather, which is usually pretty good for the case. But like a couple of years ago, we had this thing called a heat dome, where basically like a cold weather system basically just sort of like, you know, created this bubble of hot air right above us, and as the sun heated everything up, like the like it would just get hotter and hotter and hotter, and like it had nowhere to go, so it just kept building and building and building. It got up to 120 degrees. This happened years ago, and I'm still talking about this. That's how like terrible it was.
Oh, you had Texas weather.
Oh god, no, we had Saudi Arabia weather. Like, I think like Bend, Oregon was like the hottest place in the world for like a day. And it was miserable. Like we literally had public transport had to shut down because the tracks were melting. Because they didn't conceive of a world where it would get to be like above 110 degrees. But yeah, we had that. So hopefully we'll never have to do that again.
No.
But
I mean,
yeah,
I don't mind if I'm outside. I don't mind the hot weather. If I'm by the ocean and I'm getting the ocean breeze,
well,
it's like, yeah, it's still hotter than I ever wanted to be in my life, but that cool breeze coming off the water makes it a little bit worthwhile. That and I can park on the dock and go fishing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I mean, in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of rain. Like this is like the first sunny, like we like this is the first like week of sunny weather we've had in 4 months. But yeah, no, we like there are times where it's just rain every day, and honestly, I like it. I mean, like for the people who are just listening, and who have never seen my face, I am incredibly pale. I'm a redhead, and it's like the sun and I are not very good friends. So like what I like when I moved out here, everyone was like, "Oh, you don't want to do that. It's the Northwest. It's cold and miserable all the time." I'm like, "Good, keep it that way." But yeah, no, I like it here.
I'm a ginger too, but see, you have something to look forward to. No hair at all.
Already almost there.
Oh, go in there.
Yeah. There's a reason why I wear a hat everywhere.
I used to, if that wasn't evident.
Yeah.
But,
I still have my pride.
I used to, but it goes away with age. Not all of it, just a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I need. Well, you need it because you got to protect your head because, like melanoma is a very real thing. But yeah, no, that getting off topic there. I mean, when you're
all my body heat escapes through my chrome dome. So
yeah. Well, I mean, when you're a very light-skinned individual, things like sunscreen and sun exposure are topics of great interest.
Yeah. I remember being young, and they would tell me at camp, goes, "Oh, you're on the skins team," so I'd have to take my shirt off and play, whatever we were doing.
Guys!
And my mother would come to pick me up. I told you not to take your shirt off. And I looked in the mirror when I got home, and the only thing missing was a melted pound of butter because I was a lobster. And then so I had like almost third-degree burns, but definitely second-degree burns all over. Yeah.
I don't think I ever got to be that bad, but and then like, so if you're squeamish, mute it now. When it starts peeling, and it feels weird as to feel like your skin growing back, but like you're peeling off chunks, and it's like ugh. So
heat blisters, oozing, stuff like that. Yeah. It was terrible, and I'm, as I'm sure you are, riddled with freckles. So
not as much as you'd think. I mean, granted, I work the night shift, so
Mhm.
I'm usually not out in the sun a whole lot. But yeah, no, there are definitely freckles, and there's definitely some moles that they're always like, that wasn't there before. Maybe I should get that checked out.
that's
But
suspicious.
yeah.
Yeah, I can tell when I've spent a lot of time out in the sun because I no longer have freckles. I have a tan because now I have so many freckles they have just joined together.
You get tan?
Well, not currently.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. No,
But
I don't tan.
I get
I'm
a
just like,
little tan. Like I used to just tan like on my left arm because it would be the only one hanging out my car window.
yeah, the trucker tan.
Yep, I get the trucker tan. And then they look at me and goes, "You should see a doctor." I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because I can almost see clearly through your right arm. But your left arm looks like you worked on a road crew, partially in the shade."
God. Oh God. Yeah. So, it's the back of the neck for me.
Oh yeah, I get it.
That's the big spot. So yeah.
But
You can
I want to
unmute
thank you.
now. We're no longer talking about gross
We're
stuff.
fine. You can come back now. I want to thank you very much for coming on and talking many books and giving everybody a peek at what they can get on the campaign. The link is in the chat. If you listen on Spotify or any other audio version, the campaign link will be in the description. And we will also have replays available on Bundle and Odyssey later on top of YouTube and X.
Yeah.
So
to not get necessarily give a sense of urgency, but we do have 18 days left, which is both a lot and not a lot at the same time. So get on it.
it's a lot of Matthew and Frankie clicking on and off the Kickstarter campaign page.
Yes. Yeah.
In a couple of weeks, it'll go from being on like 3 times a day to every hour.
Yes. Yeah. Whatever poor FBI agent has to look through my computer is like, wow, that's a lot of Kickstarter links.
And it's all the same. And you're not just a creator; you're a massive backer too.
Yeah. It only makes sense to scope out the competition, see what's going on, see who's doing what, and I complain about the books I don't receive, but for every book I have not received, there have been 3 or 4 other campaigns where I've not only gotten the stuff, but it's there's some really cool stuff. I don't have it with me, but I picked up a book called Sunken Kingdom. It's old school knights, the armor and the swords and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of being set in a medieval fantasy world, it's set underwater. So mer knights, going around and they fight like krakens and sharks, and it's this is so cool. So
yeah, and I noticed Kickstarter added a new button for the creator of each Kickstarter. So you can find out more information about Matthew, and you can see other projects like Romanus Magicae 1 through 3, the Kaijus and Cowboys. You can see projects that have gotten the Kickstarter projects we love, and so much more. So it's like, here's the creator, and here's their badges for Kickstarter.
Yeah, here's their Kickstarter. Here's their library of work. They do a good job of sort of shoving it to the side, but they do also show the failures too, which in some ways is also just as important, if not more so. The what Frankie and I have been able to do, and like what we've been able to build, it did not happen overnight.
No.
Um, and like there were projects and there were things that I did where like I didn't know I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how things worked, and like the campaign absolutely suffered for it. But the great thing about failures, especially when it comes to crowdfunding, is that like you can learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
And like that it's something I'm comfortable talking about because like it's for every failed campaign that I had. I mean we've only had like two, but like it's a lesson learned, and like when things go wrong, it's an opportunity to tweak things and fine tune things, and make sure that there are you know uh, uh, safeguards and like ideas in place to be like oh like this has happened, well this is what we can do. So yeah, we have a lot of successes. We've backed a lot of campaigns. We've had some failures, but we've learned from that. And there's more stuff on the horizon. There's stuff coming out too. So the stuff to be on the lookout for.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to talk about it just yet, but like you'll see in the next couple of months. You'll see what's coming.
We'll see announcements and share some posts and look forward to even more because there's
Yes.
plenty more Kaijus and Cowboys coming along. The only
Yes.
thing I don't like about the book is like 3 seconds after I finish reading the new issue, uh, I want the next issue instantly.
I know. I know. I
And
know.
I'm always giving Frankie a hard time. I go, so is once I get 6 and read 6, I'll probably DM him and be like, okay, where's number 7? He's like,
Yeah. Well, I
stop it.
mean,
He goes, the art's done, but we have to.
yeah,
We have
the
to do
art's done. It just needs to be lettered. Um, but like we gotta print it, and it's like the downside to comics is that you have to wait a month. Like I mean for for any comic, like you have to
Yeah,
wait a little bit, unless you're like doing like a promotion for like Superman where you release like a new issue of Action Comics every week.
yeah,
Um, yeah, like I have Action Comics in my pull box, and it's like when they were doing that, I was like, holy crap. Um,
yeah.
but
I remember back. What was it, like the late '90s, early 2000s? They turned around and Superman was MIA, but they still did Action Comics Weekly, which was DC's version of Marvel Comics Presents, because it was just a bunch of short stories with various other characters in there until they
yeah.
brought them back, and then it was still a bunch of short stories, but the lead story would always be Superman and go on from there. So
Hmm. Yeah, I
and
mean it's
happy belated
possible. Like I
Superman
mean,
Day as well.
huh?
Yes, I said happy belated Superman Day because yesterday was
Oh
Superman Day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The big blue's having his moment. Uh, I'm really looking forward to the movie. Like the movie looks like a lot of fun. It looks like uh James Gunn is the kind of guy who like is able to like understand a character, but he's also not afraid to be weird, and he's not
Mm-hmm.
afraid to be like this is where it comes from and we're going to pay homage to it. Like the I mean the Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like who would have thought that movie would be like those movies would be some of the best things that Marvel has made, because like I mean it's the Guardians of the Galaxy, like it's with all due respect, it's the kind of superhero team that even like a lot of like diehard comic book nerds don't know, or didn't know about until very recently.
And
Um,
a lot of that is because that wasn't actually the Guardians of the Galaxy.
well, that too, that too. But
I'm
but
like,
yeah,
where's
no,
Vance
and,
Astro? Uh, it's 2.0.
but
Oh, okay.
yeah, but yeah, no, and like the Suicide Squad movie was great. The James Gunn one, the David
Yeah.
Ayers one, they
Mm,
tried, they
yeah.
tried. It had some good stuff. Like Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn now. Like
Yeah.
that's like I don't make the rules. Like that's just how it is. She
Yeah.
is
The James Ayer
Harley
movie to
Quinn.
me is kind of like Baywatch. I just turn the sound down and look up once in a while. Oh, that looks nice. and
Yeah,
go
and I
on with
mean
my
like
day.
yeah, I mean Will Smith was good. Like there was stuff to like and there was stuff to celebrate about it.
Yeah.
But like then James Gunn came in and like just like the first 20 minutes alone of that movie
Hmm.
was just like mwah, love it.
And
So
there's going to be characters in the Superman movie. For once, we're not doing the origin again, um, and he's like
we're getting
already
crypto.
established. We're getting crypto. I was a little mad about that. I go, couldn't he look? You CGI in the dog anyhow. Couldn't he look more like crypto in the comic?
I mean, a little creative license is okay. Also, I don't think. Well, Crypto's a Greyhound, isn't he? In the comics.
Um, he's typically like all white, like a white colored dog, but
Yeah. Well, no, he's a bigger dog, but like I
yeah,
know Ace is a German Shepherd, but I
mm,
think Crypto is like. Yeah, I think Crypto's a Greyhound or like a Greyhound-esque
yeah,
kind of dog. Um, but like they're very difficult to train and they're very difficult to work with. So like
yeah.
we'll take Crypto if looking the way he does.
The first time where
Um,
they just gave you like a quick glimpse of crypto sitting next to Kal-El, and I'm like, why does this dog look like one of Benji's kids?
I mean
But
that's nice. I mean
you know,
have him be a mutt, have him be like a scrappy friendly mutt who comes from next to nothing and like
mhm.
he gets to hang out with Superman. But yeah, no, that original picture they had where they're just like sitting and watching the Earth go by. It's like, oh, that's adorable.
But
So
I'm glad to see the new version of Mr. Terrific in there, Hawk Girl,
yeah,
Metamorpho.
yeah. Guy Gardner. I think Hawk Girl's
Ooh,
in there too, isn't?
ooh.
I know. But Nathan Fillion getting to be an
Oh,
unrepentant jerk. Like, yeah,
I'm just like, I
uh,
just can't. I'm like, this is just terrible. Um, the guy, I had such high hopes for Guy Gardner. I mean,
uh,
I own a couple of copies of the first appearance of Guy Gardner, which ends up just being a dream sequence, but it's still his first appearance in comics. Um, and I like the character. I never loved Guy as much as I did in that Justice League International issue where Batman knocked him out.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. You need sometimes just being an unrepentant jerk who's trying to do the right thing. Like, he has his place. He has
Yeah,
his place, and like he's
I'll have to see
uh,
because I'm more comic book than I am movies at this point because
fair enough. Fair enough.
most of them have been, disappointing with all the changes they do.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
understand
mean, like,
some
yeah,
changes, but
yeah.
you know, um, when you take legacy characters and just like turn them into a ball of silly putty and just rip all these strange changes instead of if you want to make a character like you do, then make an actual new character. Don't just take a legacy
Yeah,
character and switch them every 3 ways to Sunday.
well, I mean, yeah, there's that. I mean, at the same time, like the counter argument would be like, the comics do that all the time. I mean, like, we have like the Elseworlds imprint,
Mhm. Oh yeah.
like, doing that, and like, doing like the ability, like, in the eternal debate between Marvel and DC, I tend to, side more on the DC side of things,
Mhm.
mostly because, like, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, um, they're more archetypical than the Marvel characters. Like the Marvel characters are better characters, but DC characters are, you can do, different stuff with them. Like you can do, like, Superman Red Sun, where, like, what if Superman landed in the Soviet Union instead of
Mhm.
Kansas? You can do, like, Gotham by Gaslight, like, Batman, versus Jack the Ripper. You can do that. um the Absolute comics are amazing. um like, I don't know if you've read those, but like,
I've
Absolute
I've got
Batman.
I read the Batman stuff, and I only had up to, I think, issue 6, where they kind of
I
like
think that's what it's
wrap
up
that
to.
arc,
Yeah.
and issue 6 kind of like it was like a lot of what those two companies do is they have like this great build up, and then they go, well, we got to end it now because we got to start the next arc, like next issue, and it kind of, a lot of times it seems to fall flat. I didn't
Mm.
get this. I didn't get the Superman or the Wonder Woman. Pardon me.
The
I got the
Superman one.
Batman, and I haven't read it yet, but I got the Flash one because Jeff Lemire is one of my favorite, mainstream comic book writers. So
Oh yeah, yeah. The Flash one. The Flash one's a lot of setup. I got the Flash one. I read the Flash one. It's a lot of
and
setup, but it's
I
got
signed
some
up for the
really,
Green Lantern one too. So
yeah. The Flash one's interesting. I read Absolute Martian Manhunter, mostly on account of the fact that I want DC to put more attention into books that are not Batman.
mhm.
Um, that's a, bit of a personal pet peeve of mine. I haven't read Absolute Batman, not because I don't like it, not because, like, I don't like Scott Snyder. Like, Scott Snyder is really good. It's just like I'm all Batmaned out at the moment. Um, but yeah, no, the Absolute Wonder Woman is really cool. Um, it's got, like, what if Wonder Woman was, like, working for, like, witches and the powers of darkness instead of the Amazons and Themyscira. But the one I've been enjoying the most is Absolute Superman. They have Jason Aaron on the book,
Yeah.
and Jason Aaron's my favorite. One of my favorite writers. Like, I loved Scalped, and I loved Southern Bastards. Those were amazing. And it's probably one of the most dramatic, like, reimaginings. Like they do tell the origin of Superman again, but like he's not, like, his parents aren't, like, scientists from Krypton. They're miners, and like they're like he gives Krypton more of a culture and more of a backstory and more of a history. And like, when Superman comes to Earth, he's not, he doesn't crash land in Kansas. He, like, I don't remember where he lands, but like, he's not raised in, like, a family structure with mom and pop. He's not raised in a Norman Rockwell painting. He's raised in a mining camp. And like he goes around, um fighting for, like, the workers who are not being treated very well.
Hmm.
And like, like he has to go up against gangs of peacekeepers. Like they're literally called, they're modeled after the character peacekeepers. Like they have the helmet and everything, but it's more of a paramilitary organization. And like Lois is like a lieutenant in this organization, and she's like, she meets this guy and like has a change of heart, and like it's great, it's amazing. And it's like, it's sort of like a return to what Superman originally was, because like the original Golden Age Superman of the 1930s was a jerk. Like, and like he like, you know, he stood for truth and justice, and if you did not you know, work to protect those things, if you were an enemy to those things, if you were an enemy to truth and justice, you know, he you know he didn't kill you, but he wasn't nice. Like the like, you know, rather famously, and like in the first appearance of Action in Action Comics #1, he takes a corrupt politician, flies into his office through the window, grabs the man, and holds him by his foot upside down as they're walking along a live power line. So yeah, like there's another panel in one of his later stories where he goes to a housing project and demolishes the houses because they're you know, of poor quality and not built to spec. And he's like, you know, if I, you know, I'm going to tear these houses down with, you know, without the people in them. Like, you know, the people are safe. I'm going to tear these houses down, and I'm going to force the government to build better housing for its citizens. And it's like, you know, that's what it was. And like, you know, that's kind of what the absolute Superman is. Like, you know, he's not, you know, you know, he's a little less of a paragon of virtue than he is in the you know, he's not as he's not as much of a goody two shoes as he is in the, you know, standard interpretation of him. So like, you know, yeah, no, Absolute Superman is good. Absolute Wonder Woman is great. Absolute Martian Manhunter looks really cool. And I'm probably gonna get the Green Lantern when it comes out. So, you know.
Yeah, I think Green Lantern came out like about a week or so ago.
Yeah, I'm also very behind. I have a lot of work to do. But yeah, no, I have, you know, I have my pile.
I have piles behind me. I have indie piles behind me. I have action figures all around me. I'm glad that the camera is up above the desk line, because you would just see me like in a pile of, you know, I like I was filming from like, you know, the set of Sanford and Son or something. But
Yeah.
luckily, you can just see some toys and boxes piled up in the back.
Yeah. All right. So, does anyone in the chat have any questions or anything they want to ask? No?
Come on, people on X.
No. It's Twitter. It's Twitter. Come on, guys.
I abbreviate everything anyhow. So,
That's fair.
let me see, because I don't think it transfers stuff over to here. But nope. We've got a
All
whole
right,
bunch of
I guess we were just that thorough.
lurking, but that's it. Oh, good. Matthew, thank you so much for coming on. And I will look forward to the next issue of Kaijus and Cowboys.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
And yeah, check it out. Link in the description and in the chat. And you can follow Matthew on Twitter. And you can follow Kaijus and Cowboys, Cambria Comics, Frankie B. Washington, on just about every single social media platform I can think of.
Yep. We'll even send smoke signals.
Okay. It's hot enough now. So,
yeah.
Thank you very much. And we'll talk to you soon. And we'll look forward to reading the next installment of Kaijus and Cowboys issue 6. Don't forget about the trade.
Yeah. Yep. Perfect.